Welcome to a new Team CGC 9.8 video. So today I have 7 recommendations that are modern variant CGC 9.8 comic books. And I think a good case could be made for each of them that they're pretty good kind of buy and hold long-term type of CGC 9.8 books. And that's good because I don't think for modern books you can say too many modern books are good like buy and hold books. So, you know, you're almost more often better off buying a Silver Age book or a Bronze Age book or something like that for an investment. But yeah, great list, I think, of modern variant books here. Good kind of a mixture of underfollowed books and some of the classic ones you really want to focus on if you're kind of modern variant hunting. Yeah, just one thing to say, you know, this isn't really my area of expertise, so if you have some great modern variants that you think are really good investment grade books, you know, let me know in the comments below and kind of be a good resource for modern variants. But yeah, a couple more underfollowed ones on the list, but I think there's some main ones with some great iconic first appearances that you really want to focus on, so those are on this list as well. So yeah, a short list of 7 modern variant CGC 9.8, so let's get right into it here. First comic book, CGC 9.8 comic book I want to talk about here, it's a Batman 655. So this is the first cameo appearance of Damian. And it's sort of known as his first appearance because it sort of happened over a couple pages, so it's basically his first appearance. Got a really cool cover. So we're talking about the variant edition. This is an Adam Kubert cover, whereas the first print was an Andy Kubert cover. Both really cool covers, actually, to be honest. The first print cover is really cool, too. So let's look on the CGC 9.8, or on the CGC census here for Batman 655, the Adam Kubert rare variant. I think it was a 1 of 10 print. So there's 241 CGC 9.8s on the census in the blue label, and the CGC 9.8 ratio is 37%. So yeah, really quick, I'll show you guys, because I got the first print of this book, the kind of non-variant edition of the book. Got them in the raw. Kind of 2 really nice raw copies of Batman 655, but we're talking about the more rare variant. And in the CGC 9.8, I think this is a really collectible book. It's, you know, first appearance of Damian. You know, there's a lot of potential for the Damian character. Certainly, he hasn't really been in like a live-action movie featured, so that you could still expect that pop in the future at some point, even if it's probably years and years down the road, I would imagine. But still a really like iconic character that has a lot of potential. Yeah, and basically, you know, he's the next Batman essentially. This, you know, being the son of Bruce Wayne. So, you know, really iconic character that's a big part of the Batman story. And to get this more rare variant, I think is actually a pretty good stab in the CGC 9.8. In an auction, I've seen this book go for right around $300. I'm pretty sure I saw one go for just under $300 in an auction. So most buy it now, as you see with this book, are like $350, $399, $450, even some maybe even higher than that. So, you know, you want to be patient on this book. There's 241 in the CGC 9.8 in the blue label. I think if you pay around closer to $300 for this, if you're a really big Batman fan, this is, yeah, one of those modern books I think to grab. Yeah, really this book, the modern variant of this one, and this book specifically we're talking about here, and Batman 635, the first Jason Todd's Red Hood. Those are 2 really cool, like, modern Batman books in the CGC 9.8 that are still pretty affordable to grab. And I really like Batman 666, which is a couple issues after this where Damian becomes Batman for the first time. And it's a first appearance of Professor Pig as well. But yeah, we're talking about modern variants in this one. Yeah, there's 241 in the CGC 9.8 for Batman 655, the Adam Kubert variant. Kind of like a gray toned cover, and you know, I got the graphic here. So, but yeah, a cool book that I think it's growing on me for sure. Like I'm really, you know, I really want Batman 635, the first appearance of Red Hood. But this is just getting right up there as a CGC 9.8 that I need to kind of complete my Batman keys. Because, yeah, as you guys know, I'm a huge Batman fan. That's like, Batman and Spider-Man are kind of my main 2 books that I really like to buy. So Batman 655, the Adam Kubert more rare variant is one I would recommend in the CGC 9.8. Yeah. Next one here. It's Ultimate Fallout 4, the Djurdjevic variant. So, I mean, yeah, this is really one you want to grab. It's the first appearance of Miles Morales in the more rare variant version. Yeah, let's look on the census. There's 118 CGC 9.8s in the blue label, So yeah, not too many of them, just getting over 100 for such a popular, character as Miles Morales. That's not very many at all, and that's why we'll get into the price, why the prices are so expensive. CGC 9.8 ratio, 25.6%. Pretty low 9.8 ratio for a modern book. Yeah, anything under 30% is really low for like a book that's come out in the last 10 years. So yeah, kind of everything about this variant is, you'd think it would be pretty expensive, and it really is. So yeah, we had someone on the team purchase one for $2,800 in the CGC 9.8. So yeah, more than an Amazing Spider-Man 300 in the CGC 9.8, which is interesting. And it's one of those, with Amazing Spider-Man 300, there's over 1,000 of them in the CGC 9.8. Even though that 9.8 ratio is so relatively rare, it's like 6%. So only 6% of all graded copies are 9.8s for Amazing Spider-Man 300. Whereas this Ultimate Fallout 4 variant, 25% of them are CGC 9.8, so not nearly as rare as Amazing Spider-Man 300, but it's so rare printed, there's not a lot of them out there, so there's only 118 compared to 1,000, so there's that sort of, do you go for the lower ratio or the lower numbers? Such an iconic first appearance. This is, if you're variant hunting and you got the cash, this is one to get for sure. In the CGC 9.8 again, yeah, 2,800 was a recent completed sale. Maybe you get closer to 2,500 with a motivated seller, but yeah, every time I sort of see one of these sell, usually it goes for like a higher price than what I've saw before, because they used to be really kicking around 2,000 when I first got into the hobby. Now kicking on 3,000 maybe. But yeah, the Djurdjevic variant, Ultimate Fallout 4, first Miles Morales, and the CGC 9.8, one to recommend for sure. So next one, sticking with this big theme, is Edge of Spider-Verse number 2, the main sort of 2 appearances from the modern Marvel age that you want to zero in on. So Edge of Spider-Verse number 2, the Greg Land variant, is pretty rare, and the one to get of first appearance of Spider-Gwen, new Spider-Woman, Gwen Stacy. So looking on the census for this one, 256 in the CGC 9.8 in the blue label, compared to 118 for the Djurdjevic variant for first Miles Morales. So, quite a lot more of these, which is interesting. And the CGC 9.8 ratio is 59%. So the relative rareness of it, like this isn't very rare compared to the Ultimate Fallout 4 Djurdjevic variant. So interesting, yeah, much like sort of the first print of Ultimate Fallout 4 and Edge of Spider-Verse 2, I prefer Ultimate Fallout 4 because it looks way better on the census. It's more rare, and there's less of them. Same deal with the variants, yeah. There's less Ultimate Fallout 4s, and it's more rare. The CGC 9.8 ratio is lower. So yeah, the Djurdjevic variant I think is the pick out of the 2, but certainly this is the variant to get if you really, really love Spider-Gwen. And there's 256 out there, so I wouldn't really pay up for this one. I would look to definitely get it closer to 2,000. I know that seems expensive, but that's really how much these are going for. But yeah, if you're going to pay up for one of these, probably the Ultimate Fallout 4, the Djurdjevic one, with only 118 out there. But Edge of Spider-Verse number 2, the Greg Land variant, nonetheless, one to recommend and one to talk about. Alright, so next one is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 95. And we'll talk about a couple of the variants for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle comics that relate to Jennika, who's the first female Ninja Turtle. This one's kind of just my favorite, and it's pretty affordable too. So this is the Comics and Ponies edition variant. I believe this was printed to 750, limited to 750 print. And one that I just really like. I just really think sort of you get Kevin Eastman doing the art, and that's kind of cool. He's the sort of one of the original creators of the Ninja Turtles. And the white background, I think it's just a really cool idea, I thought. And I really thought it was my personal pick out of the variants, because there's the SDCC variant, which is, I believe it was limited to 500 print. So there's 750 of these, and there's 500 of the SDCCs. Those are more expensive. Yeah, we'll talk about price too, but there's 156 of these in the CGC 9.8 on the census. And yeah, 97.5% is the CGC 9.8 ratio. So pretty much all of these going into CGC are just looking perfect, basically, in 9.8s. 156 of them out there. Yeah, I picked up mine. It was 150 bucks. And I think that's sort of about the fair price, I would say, at this point. you know, you might pay up a little bit more. You might get a deal from a motivated seller closer to like 130, 125. But yeah, I think for the price, and you know, this is somewhat of a limited print with 750 of them printed. I think that's going to look pretty good over time. Whereas it's not like a Marvel book where it's just going to explode on the census to over 1,000 because there's only 750 of them printed ever. So really a great candidate too to have the Kevin Eastman signature series where maybe he does a cool sketch on it too. Or so yeah, I think the signature series book, if you're into signed books, is one to go after as well. So yeah, I think this is the, you know, the SDCC variant's kind of cool too. I think it's a Dave Watcher cover, I believe it is, with Jennika kind of on the table getting the infusion of Leonardo's blood, how she kind of became the first female Ninja Turtle. That one's cool too, but this is just kind of my pick. It's a little bit cheaper too, but it, you know, that is the top one if you really want to get the best, you know, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle 95, the most rare one. You want to look at that SDCC variant. Now, one more just to go quick, and I won't include it as like another pick on the list, but for 2 issues after Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 97, so this is 95, Jennika first becomes a Ninja Turtle. And this is when she first puts on her yellow bandana costume, like has the Ninja Turtle costume on. And this is the retail incentive version, kind of the little bit more rare version. And it's basically a bit of a homage of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1. So I just think it's got Jennika on it there with Casey Jones too. So I just think it's a cool sort of homage to the first cover, and obviously first Jennika in her yellow getup right on the front cover there. So if you're looking for a variant for 97, I kind of like this one the best. There's a lot of variants for 97 to be honest, but yeah, I really just like this one, being that it's the homage and it's got Jennika in the yellow getup right on the cover. So yeah, one to consider if you're looking for a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 97. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 95, really like this Kevin Eastman Comics and Ponies variant. Okay, so next book is one I've talked about periodically. It's a Venom #3, the 3rd printing with the cool Null cover. This is the first full appearance of Null. And just a really cool book. I think, you know, we'll look on the census really quick here. 257 in the CGC 9.8 in the blue label. You know, it's a modern book that's not a huge amount, but I think with this 3rd print, it was somewhat limited printed. So I don't think you're going to see that explode to like over 1,000 or anything like that, which is somewhat of a positive. 257 9.8, so you can be pretty patient on this one. 88.6% is the CGC 9.8 ratio, so of all graded copies, 88.6% of them are CGC 9.8, so it's not very rare, but it's certainly just a modern book that's come out in the last year or two. Keep that in mind. But I just think this is a really great cover, first of all. Just nailed it on the cover. First Null cover, so any, you know, huge Null fan out there that's looking to grab a Null book, this is becoming kind of the one to get, to be honest. I'm seeing some of the prices. So for the first print, I saw a first print with that white cover, kind of first full appearance of Null in the CGC 9.8 go for $100. And those were kind of holding over 100, I thought, for quite a while. So to see one go for 100, I think what's kind of happening is, you know, this one is kind of becoming the one to want, the one to have, and the one that collectors want, Venom #3, the 3rd print. So I think, you know, the first print, #1, is kind of cooling off a bit, about $100 for that one now. Maybe even under if you're kind of patient. And this Venom #3 3rd print first Null cover is kind of like 130, 140. Like people are starting to pay up for it as, you know, I think more blogs and, you know, just YouTube channels and stuff are, some of these modern variants get a really good word of mouth. And because they're pretty limited printed, yeah, the prices can start to go up. So, you know, I always say you kind of got to take notice when a 3rd print sort of jumps ahead in price of a first print. So I still really like this one, and it's one I've been doing quite a lot of searches and signed up for kind of email alerts on it. And there was a signature series one on eBay for a bit of, I think it was a Donny Cates signed one, and that had sold, I believe. Yeah, that had sold. And it was quite high priced, I believe, and I think I was priced out of it because of the shipping. But yeah, I'm looking for this book in a blue label, really cool Null cover. This is one I just want, and more for a pride of ownership. I just really like the cover, and yeah, the fact that it is a bit of a limited print. I think you can hold on to this one for a really long time, and it's not going to explode on the census because it's a limited print, and that cool cover I think is going to be pretty timeless. Yeah. Still lots of potential with Null too. He's such a new character that obviously he hasn't really been in any movie or any kind of mainstream stuff. So, Venom number 3, the third print, first Null cover, great one to go after, certainly if you're a Venom or Null fan. Next one is Miles Morales Spider-Man number 1, the animation variant. And talked about this periodically on the channel too. And a bit of kind of an unbox reveal this whole video, I guess, because I didn't do an unbox for this yet, and I was thinking of doing one, but sort of had this idea for a video too, so I just thought I'd have it out here and not really do an unbox. But I just think it's a really cool cover that I just really like Into the Spider-Verse movie. I really enjoyed it. So to just basically have a screenshot of the movie is kind of cool. And a limited print variant is really cool too. Because when you look on the census, there's 17 of these in the CGC 9.8 in the blue label. So one of 17 out there, which is pretty cool. And 85% is a CGC 9.8 ratio. So kind of typical with these modern books. But I just think now this book is, if you're like me and you just really like it, then it's kind of a cool one to get. I paid $99.99 for mine, which probably is a bit of a pay up, I think, if you're really patient on these, but there's only 17 out there, so, when you see one, it's going to be kind of hard to maybe get a deal unless it's like a fire sale auction, but you might be able to get it for like 80 to 90 bucks. But I just think now's a really decent time to buy this one, first off, because we're kind of in between Spider-Verse movies. And, I'm not much of a short-term guy, but when when the next Spider-Verse movie comes out, I could see someone just, a noob, for lack of a better word, kind of seeing the movie and then wanting a comic that had something to do with Spider-Verse, and you could throw this on eBay and get like 200 bucks for it or something at that point. But right now, I think a great book to get for, kind of 90 bucks if you could swing that, I think would be kind of a great price for this pretty rare variant. And there's not too many kind of, Into the Spider-Verse covers, like, if you're looking for something related to the movie kind of thing, because the movie just did so well. Certainly there's going to be another movie, for sure. I would expect this one for more of them to come up on the census, like 17 in the CGC 9.8. I think, that'll probably get up to sort of 40 or 50 maybe over the next, maybe when that next Spider-Verse movie comes out, another 20 of them will come on really quick, I would imagine. But just a cool cover, and if you're a big Miles Morales if you like those Spider-Verse movies, one to look at, one to get. And I think maybe not the best one out of the list for like an investment grade book to hold forever, but just a cool one that I think is pretty limited printing, and you never know. And I really like the Spider-Verse movies, so to just get a cool cover. And Miles Morales Spider-Man number 1 is a pretty cool series that's kind of gaining some traction, just kind of a continuation of Ultimate Spider-Man, which is a really cool series that I liked when I was younger too. So, okay, last book on the list here. Last book is a Batman 608 second print. So I wanted to end it with a Batman book. I love Batman, and 2 Batman books that I do not have. This one, Batman 608, is the first, kind of the beginning of the Hush storyline and the first Jim Lee Batman. So I'm a huge Jim Lee fan, and this is kind of the Jim Lee Batman book to get. A very limited print, second print, kind of sweet Jim Lee Batman pinup cover. Batman 608 second print. On the census, there's 355 in the CGC 9.8, and 38.6% is the CGC 9.8 ratio. So you're getting in, a little bit older with this book here. So CGC 9.8 ratio coming down a little bit, 38.6%. But Jim Lee Batman was a huge hit, certainly when it first came out. In the raw, I have Batman 608, the whole Hush storyline, the whole run, 2 times over. That was when I first got right back into collecting. Huge Jim Lee fan from like the 90s. That was just, you know, I was buying Raws when I first got into it, and that was like the first thing I really wanted to buy was a lot of like Jim Lee Hush. Just love the covers, love his Batman, love the style of how he does Batman. So, and that, yeah, so as far as CGC 9.8 books go from that whole run, this is pretty much the one to get. It's, you know, the rare second print of, the beginning of the Hush storyline in the first Jim Lee Batman. So yeah, you know, if you're a big Batman fan, like I'm pretty torn between these two. You know, I got so many Hush things in the Raw. I'm kind of, you know, I feel good about, you know, having some of the Hush books in the Raw. So yeah, the Batman 655, the first book we talked about, that more rare with the first appearance of Damian, the more rare Adam Kubert cover. I think that one's sort of tugging at, you know, my heartstrings, making me want to possibly really, you know, drill down and buy it. And yeah, when you're comparing the Batman books on the list, there's 241 CGC 9.8 to the Batman 655. And Batman 608, there's 355. So there's less of, and the CGC 9.8 ratios are identical, yeah, basically. So yeah, a little bit less of Batman 655. First appearance of Damian. I think that's kind of the one for for me to maybe drill down and get for a Batman book. So okay, I'll have a full list in the description below of the 7 modern variant books that we went over. Yeah, it was Batman 655, the Ultimate Fallout 4 Djurdjevic variant, Edge of Spider-Verse #2 Greg Land variant, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 95, the Comics and Ponies variant, the Kevin Eastman variant, Venom #3 third print, first Null cover, Miles Morales animation variants, the other one, and Batman 608 second print, yeah, Jim Lee Hush, the more rare second print. So yeah, you know what, I'm sure, as I said, it's not my main area of expertise, some of these modern books, so if you have any variants that you really like, yeah, definitely let me know in the comments below. Some good ideas, though, on the list. Yeah, I think, you know, the Ultimate Fallout 4 and the Edge of Spider-Verse 2, I think, are a bit out of my price range. I'd rather buy another Amazing Spider-Man 300, to be honest. When anything gets over 2,000, like, for me, the nostalgia of 300 and all that just, like, it just makes me, like, I can't spend more than 2,000, sorry, then, like, it just makes me, I'd rather buy an Amazing Spider-Man 300, CGC 9.8. So I'll probably lay off those. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle 95, lots of potential. Yeah, certainly the more rare SDCC variant is something to look at and consider. And Venom #3, that's one I want. Yeah, Venom #3, the first Null cover, that's one I want. And then Batman 655, yeah, first appearance of Damian with the Adam Kubert variant. I think those are the two I want to kind of drill down and hopefully buy over the next 6 months, let's call it. Alright, that'll be it for this video. If you haven't already, I'd invite you to join the team and subscribe to Team CGC 9.8. Hit the bell to get all their latest notifications. And add me on Instagram and Twitter too. Yeah, I'll have all the links in the description below for everything. But yeah, thanks so much for watching today. Glad I could switch it up a little bit and you know, do something that's a little bit out there for me, being modern variants. But I think, yeah, good list, some good ideas, and I always love Batman too, so, you know, always want to have a couple Batman books in my list, usually. And, yeah, really thinking that I really want that Batman 655 now. But thank you very much for watching today. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed the list. I'll see you on the next one.